Hey everybody, trials will soon be upon us and the race to the Lighthouse will begin again. But what should we do to prepare ourselves for the push to 7 consecutive wins for Flawless? In this video, we'll break down the loadouts we're preparing to use and the strategies of elimination, the game mode for trials. The footage in the background is just elimination gameplay from this season. Let's start with loadouts, but keep in mind things may be drastically different after the sandbox changes, so I'm leaving myself pretty open. This will also depend on what we play against. For example, if a team is snipe heavy, I might pull out my Patron of Lost Causes with explosive rounds as a counter.
If you've watched me play, you know I main a Stormcaller Warlock in PvP. I'll be bringing my lock into trials this weekend, but I also know that Top Tree Storm is being tuned. It's possible that will change my setup a bit. I'm also really excited to check out the changes to Hunters, specifically sticky trip mines. I tend to go between hand cannons and pulses and combine them with either a shotgun or sniper, depending on the map and how our opponents are playing. My current go-tos are for hand cannons are Spare Rations and Crimson. For pulses, I usually use either Bygones or Claws of the Wolf. I always prefer to use my Quick Draw Mindbender shotgun, but will use Imperial Decree in my kinetic slot if I have to. For snipers, I gravitate towards Revoker or Silicon Aroma in the kinetic slot, or Beloved for an energy sniper. Heavy will likely be a rocket launcher of some sort.
For me, I'll most likely be playing as a Hunter as I'm most comfortable on that. Not to mention, Hunter Jump is very powerful on console and the dodge is as well. Assuming dodge doesn't get nerfed, I'll most likely be playing Top Tree Tether to abuse Invis and the upgraded radar. However, I might give Bottom Tree Nightstalker a shot depending on how it gets buffed. And with that, I usually run Stompies or Dragon Shadow. I'm also very comfortable on other subclasses, so I'll be willing to run either middle or bottom tree Arc Strider and either middle or bottom tree Gunslinger. And as far as weapons, I have a lot I'm comfortable with, but for primaries, my top options are Crimson, Spare, Trust with explosive rounds, Patron of Lost Causes with explosive rounds, and maybe Suros or Hard Light if the buff feels strong enough. For specials, I'm pretty much ready for anything, but I think we're going to have a bit of a sniper meta in trials, as that's kind of what it used to be before, and getting that first pick is super important. So I'm ready with Revoker, Mindbenders, Beloved with Box Breathing, and Alatha or Aaron Till. I have a crazy Alatha with Firmly Planted and Backup Plan, and I know those are getting nerfed, but I think it's actually still going to be really good, especially for getting that first pick up close. A couple of offbeat loadouts I do want to try is Le Monarch and Breachlight and Wish Ender and Last Hope. I might mess around with those a little bit. At the end of the day, my loadout is very uncertain, as I feel D2 has brought on a ton of variety as far as what's viable. As long as I stick to what I'm working with, or what is working, and play to the advantages of my loadouts, I'll be fine. As far as heavy, I don't think heavy will make or break a game, but I'll probably run a Pyroclastic Flow with Quick Draw and Cluster Bombs, or play the game with procs and 30 blast radius. As far as exotic options, Leviathan's Breath, Wardcliff, Truth, and even Two-Tailed Fox to suppress supers are going to be solid choices. All that being said, I believe my strongest loadout will be Top Tree Nightstalker for super shutdown, area denial, invis, smokes, spike grenades, Dragon Shadow for maximum dodge, uptime, constant quick draw, Revoker for rewards for missing snipes, res snipes, super snipes, Trust with explosive opening shot for good dueling capability, range, and easy Revoker body cleanups, and Wardcliff for high killing potential and super shutdowns. Now, to strategy. The game type is going to be elimination, so I'm only going to go over strategies uniquely important to that game type, but a lot of these do actually cross over to other game types as well. First, you want to move together and gain map control. Elimination puts a lot of pressure to get the first pick of the round and not be the first one picked. Each round is a fresh start with a fresh spawn, so you can reset your push each round. There are a few ways to gain map control, where in this case map control is gained when you own multiple lanes that your opponents are near but not in. You have a route to disengage to an area near your teammates, and you can team shoot those multiple spots with multiple teammates.
Second, control the ghosts. When you get a pick, make sure you are controlling the area to ensure they can't get an easy res. Be sure to stay mobile, however, as if you stay too stagnant, that allows the opposing team to maneuver for good angles on your position.
Third, manage your supers. In Elim, you'll most likely only get 1, maybe 2 supers per game. Make sure you make the most out of your super and communicate with your team so you don't double pop your supers. You can utilize roaming supers to push and distract the enemy team, so make sure your teammates are making the most out of it. Shutdown supers or panic supers are going to be good to either shut down the opponent's super or control the res or punish an extension and get the first pick. But the best use of the super is going to be very dependent on the situation. Just make sure you're smart with it.
Fourth, communicate. Make sure you and your teammates are communicating with each other. Some of the more important callouts are calling out if and when you're pushing, see enemies, get anyone weak, get a pick, and get picked. On top of that, it's useful to call out things like arc web chaining, specific weapon positions such as snipers or fusions, rifts, suppression, etc.
Lastly, stay positive. Being overly negative will not only hurt your own game, but also bring down your teammates. Positive reinforcement, encouragement, and reassuring comments can make a big difference to team morale. That concludes loadouts and strategies, so we'll let the gameplay play out, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you at the Lighthouse.
Elimination. Your opponent will come for your life. Guard it fiercely. One opponent left. They don't stand a chance. They were running for the door, and you slammed it in their face. Superb. You're ahead. Let's widen the gap. One opponent left. They don't stand a chance. Enemy team eliminated. Tell them to stay down. You're ahead. Keep them sweating. One opponent left. They don't stand a chance. Your teammate is alone. Let them focus. Opponents neutralized. Simple and clean. You're in the lead. Keep it that way. Only one enemy remains. Don't let them catch their breath. Opponents neutralized. Simple and clean. No beginners here. Be ready for anything. Your team is relying on you. won this round, but don't let it throw you. You can win the next. No beginners here. Be ready for anything. Your team is relying on you.
Guardian down. Guardian down.
Your team is down. Fight in their stead. One opponent left. They don't stand a chance. Ha! You put an end to that.